Hello, ladies and gentlemen of anime. It's me, Caden, more commonly known as Kado. Today is a very, very, very special day. It is the 20th anniversary of my favorite video game series of all time, Kingdom Hearts. I know, it's crazy to think. Kingdom Hearts, 20 years old? How time has flown. I remember the 10th anniversary with Dream Drop Distance. And that, like, it felt long ago, but not also at the same time. It's just so weird how far this simple idea of, or this crossover between Disney and Final Fantasy came together and became something so worldwide and phenomenal. And, if you cannot see, I am wearing a Kingdom Hearts shirt that I personally made in my high school graphics class. And, I had to sport it today because my love for Kingdom Hearts is unmatched. And so, I saw Gamer Destroy make a video, HMK make a video, talking about their love for Kingdom Hearts and celebrating the 20th anniversary. And I'd consider myself a very big fan. I'm new to YouTube still with my friends, but I've always wanted to be a Kingdom Hearts YouTuber growing up. But obviously I was young, I didn't necessarily have a job or money to put into it. I didn't really understand the internet in that way. Or I guess how to run a YouTube page, so I never made videos. But yeah, I basically kind of stealing ideas from the Gamers video. I kind of want to just talk about my experiences with Kingdom Hearts, what initially got me into the game, and why I love it so much, and why it means so much to me. I will have to say that out of every piece of fiction I've ever experienced in my life, I feel like there really hasn't been any other than Kingdom Hearts. It's changed me as a person, I feel like. The lessons I've learned from it have definitely shaped the way I do things and the way I act. And, you know, people like to, I guess, if there's one criticism people say about Kingdom Hearts is its convoluted story, but even as a young age, I was so invested in its story, and I love its, like, storytelling and its character development. And, like, obviously, Final Fantasy VII, you guys know, is my favorite video game of all time. But for a long time, it was Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Mix. And it's, like, very hard neck and neck for me to choose. Like, Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, they're just so deeply resonant with me, and I really connect with, like, Square Enix's stories they tell. And as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, and it will probably forever stay my favorite game of all time, Kingdom Hearts will always stay my favorite video game franchise. And obviously, multiple of the Kingdom Hearts games are in my top 5 games, simply for the fact that they are just so great, and I'm very nostalgic with them. But nostalgia aside, they have shaped me. They have shaped, not even me, my family. My younger brother loves Kingdom Hearts. He doesn't really talk about it as much as back in the day, but he's still a fan. My older cousins, who basically got me into the series, they're massive fans just as I am, and it's their favorite video game series. So it's like, it brings us together, and it has something for us to talk about, and it bonds us as a family, which I really appreciate. And so, yeah, Kingdom Hearts has definitely done a lot for me. Yeah, and, like, Kingdom Hearts has been a thing that's lasted pretty much all of my life. You know, the series is 20 years old. I'm 18 years old right now. I'll be 19 later this year in a few months. So I am basically as old as this game series. Obviously, I never played Kingdom Hearts 1 as it came out. Obviously, I wasn't born. It came out in 2002. I was born in 2003. But I did play it a few years later when I was like, I believe I played it in the first grade or a little bit before first grade. It was the first time I got exposed to it. And the reason I say this is because in first grade, like our end of year project, you could say, was we had this hardcover book, and our first grade teacher's like, all right, you can make whatever story you want, go for it. And then at the end of the year, or the end of the year, we'll have all the parents come in, we'll do a presentation, and you'll get to like read your story and keep your hardcover book. And so basically, in first grade, the story I wrote out was the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. And yeah, first grade Caden writing out the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 as his story to tell, misspelling Xemnas, and you know, I can't even remember. Like most of it, I tried finding it. Before I started this video to show you guys, but yeah, I couldn't find it, so I don't know where it's at. But yes, the first time I ever played Kingdom Hearts was around that time, like first grade, a little bit before that, or maybe, yeah, it's around first grade. My oldest cousin, who's also a big Kingdom Hearts fan, he was living with my grandmother at the time, and he was staying in like the guest room, and he had a PS2 there, and sometimes on Sunday our grandmother would invite my family over for dinner, and obviously since he was living there, he would be there and eating dinner. And then after dinner, you know, me and my younger brother would chat with him, and obviously he was a lot older than us. He was in college, and we're like, I don't know how old you are when you went to first grade, but we were like 6 or 7, 8 years old, whatever it was. And the first thing I ever saw of Kingdom Hearts was Kingdom Hearts 2. I saw the final boss fight against Xemnas in the world that never was. I vividly remember my young mind seeing Sora slashing through buildings and thinking, what in the hell is this game? I saw Goofy and Donald there. I saw the spiky-haired kid. And I was so captivated by what the hell was going on. And so, you know, I asked my cousin about it, obviously, and I saw him fight Xemnas, and I saw the CG ending cutscene, you know, the happy ending or whatever. So I basically had Kingdom Hearts 2 spoiled for me at a very young age. And yeah, I remember every time I would go over to my grandmother's, I would get every chance I could to play Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2. I started my own save file. I remember going through Roxas' thing and thinking that was super weird, like, who is Roxas? I hadn't played Kingdom Hearts 1 before, like, I don't know what's going on, but the combat is so cool, and the Disney characters, and the Final Fantasy characters. At the time, I thought they were, like, Kingdom Hearts original characters. It was only later that my cousin told me that, no, these are characters from different Final Fantasy games that are in this. Like, we get to see Cloud, and Aerith, and Yuffie, and Sid in Kingdom Hearts 1, and Squall from Final Fantasy 8. And it was like, wow, this is really something special. And yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2, it just opened up my mind as a child of what games can be. You know, voice acting and cutscenes and fun gameplay. Prior to this, I was only used to like Leapfrog and Nintendo DS games like Mario Kart and Super Mario 64 DS. So whenever I saw this, like a JRPG, it literally changed my life. And I primarily now only really love playing JRPGs for the story and combat. And, you know, obviously I play different games with my friends. You know, everyone plays Call of Duty and whatever. And I'm a big fan of zombies more than multiplayer. But I'm mainly like a JRPG kind of gamer. And those are the games I really enjoy. And yeah, so I would just go over there every time I could, try to beat the game, and like, I remember my family and my cousin's family, we went on this camping trip somewhere, like this ice. It was like this ice fishing tournament, right? In the frozen lake and the ice fish. Anyway, there's a campground, and my cousin brought the PS2, and funny enough, he also brought Kingdom Hearts 2, and I remember vividly playing Kingdom Hearts 2, continuing my save file from the Port Royal World, Pirates of the Caribbean in KH2, fighting the hanging boss over the gold chest, playing on a tiny ass TV, and just us talking about it. And then I finally beat Kingdom Hearts 2, and then yeah, I always after playing Kingdom Hearts 2, I always wanted a PS2 growing up. I never got one eventually. Like, I always wanted a PS2 to replay Kingdom Hearts 2 because I just absolutely loved that game. And I loved Sora's outfit as a kid. Just KH2 Sora's outfit is just so cool and swaggy and just, oh, it's so awesome. And my next games, obviously, since I had a DS, I went to the store, I think it was Target, and I saw Kingdom Hearts Recoded there. I'm pretty sure I begged my mom to get it for me because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Kingdom Hearts on the DS, and I had to get it. And I went home, and the opening cinematic of Recoded, where it plays Simple and Clean like the remix, and it shows clips from like BBS and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is so cool. And I kept replaying that intro over and over and over again because I thought it was so entertaining. I remember going on car trips and staying the night over at uncles and aunts' house, and I wouldn't even play the game. I just rewatched the opening cinematic because I thought it was so cool. Eventually I did end up beating Recoded, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Obviously at the time, I'm still very young, I don't know what's going on in the Kingdom Hearts storyline. Me playing these, there's no recollection of story. I'm just basically playing for the cool combat and the Disney characters. And then I ended up playing 358 over 2 days, which was that game I think really set in stone how emotional a game story can be. If you guys know, everyone, if you're watching this, a Kingdom Hearts fan, at a young age, me beating Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days for the first time, and having to fight Xion, and then eventually have her die in your arms, it was the first time I've ever cried in a video game, and it really hit me hard. I'm like, how am I feeling these things? Like, I feel like I wasn't connected enough with them, but just the way Square Enix portrays characters in their games and storylines, it really resonated with me, and it broke my heart. Same with my younger brother, who even was more devastated since he was younger. He also played that, and it's like that moment is forever engraved in my mind as the moment where I knew that I was gonna love this video game series the rest of my life, and it will always be my favorite. And then the next Kingdom Hearts game I would play would eventually be Dream Drop Distance. My younger brother got a 3DS before I ever did. I had a 3DS XL, a red one. He had the glossy black one, the smaller one. He got it for Christmas along with Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. And I basically snagged the 3DS from him and the game and basically beat Dream Drop Distance I don't know how many times. I would just replay it and replay it and replay it. I had so much fun on Dream Drop Distance. I've easily put in I don't know how many hours, but I at least probably beat it 10 times on the hardest difficulty. Like, I tried to do everything. I loved that game, and I liked Dream Drop Distance's Sora's outfit, but I loved Kingdom Hearts so much that I would go onto YouTube and look up if there's like a secret way to unlock Sora's outfit at Dream Drop Distance, or like a mod or something. I was so desperate to play Kingdom Hearts 2 again that I would literally do anything just to look like him in Dream Drop Distance. Like, that's how badly I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts 2. Then a few years later, the HD remixes come out for PS3, well, I don't have a PS3. I had an Xbox 360 at the time, and as you guys know, Kingdom Hearts was only a Sony franchise for a majority of the time, and the spin-offs were on Nintendo with Chain of Memories on Game Boy Advance, and Days and Recoded and Dream Drop on the DS systems. So it was mostly like Sony and spin-offs on the handheld. Well, obviously, Birth by Sleep was on the PSP, but you know, the mainline games were on the consoles. And rumors were going around about Kingdom Hearts 3 for many years about it was coming out on PS3, and that the remixes were coming out, the HD remixes were coming out on PS3, so everyone was like, alright, they're putting all the games on PS3, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be coming out soon. That didn't end up happening, as we all know, but I never got around to playing the HD remixes, so I was still missing out on a majority of the games I still haven't played. And then 2015, I got a PS4, I was a little bit older, and then the HD Remixes 1.5, 2.5 collection came to PS4, and let me tell you, that was like probably the best day of my whole life when that got announced. When that game came out, I was finally able to play Kingdom Hearts 1. Phenomenal game. I never played, I started Chain of Memories and I was really turned off by the combat. I know the story is really good, so I went to YouTube and I watched all the cutscenes and whatever. Maybe one day I can go back, but the card system, I don't know. Even though it's remade, I was not a fan, so I was turned off. I watched the 358 over 2 days movie. I finally got to play my favorite game again. I got to play Kingdom Hearts 2. I played on critical mode right off the bat. Oh man, that was just so much fun. And then I played Birth by Sleep after that. This is my first time playing this, and I really enjoyed it. And then Ventus would eventually become my favorite character in the series. I mean, look at this guy, Ventus. I love his backstory. He has a sad story. He's just, he'll do anything for his friends, kind of like a Sora, but I love Ventus. He literally is Roxas. Well, that's how Roxas came to be, is because of Ventus. And yeah, I love Birth by Sleep. And then I watched Recoded movie. And then yeah, freshman year of high school. Fast forward many years. Oh yeah, 2.8 came out. That came out. Played the 0.2 demo. Loved that. Played Dream Drop Distance again in HD with a controller. Like, I'm used to playing on handheld for Dream Drop Distance. That was what I was used to. So I was really curious how they're gonna port it to the consoles, and they did it perfectly. I love Dream Drop Distance HD. Then the big day, I believe it was January 29th, 2019. My most anticipated game of probably my entire life, Kingdom Hearts 3, was finally out. I had to beg and convince my mom, my freshman year of high school, to let me stay home and play Kingdom Hearts 3. So finally, she let me stay home. I played it. I beat it in like 20-25 hours, and I absolutely loved it. I cried multiple times towards the later half of the game. The culmination of everything really made me emotional. And then I loved it. I made a Kingdom Hearts fan page on Instagram, Roxanor, because at the time Roxas was my favorite character. It's since changed to obviously Ventus. But yeah, I kind of got big on that a little bit. I got a few thousand views, and then I just kind of gave up on that whole page. Really, I haven't uploaded it, on it forever. And a year passes by, and what's this? We get Remind, KH3 Remind, which is basically Kingdom Hearts 3 Final Mix. And wow, the improvements that DLC made to Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, I already thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was a very good game. I know other people in the community thought it was a kind of rough launch, and that was kind of underwhelming, but I enjoyed it, and Remind just made it better, and a lot of people agree with me. Just, yeah, the Cavern of Remembrance is back with the data fights. Yuzora, holy hell, he was so hard to beat. I had to beat him a year later. It took me pretty much a whole year to beat him. I would just die. It took me like, I'm pretty sure exactly like a little over 100 attempts to beat Yuzora. every time I died I counted. I think it was like 104, 105. is when I finally beat Yozora. I had to like analyze every single of his moves, where to move. He was so hard but so enjoyable. And Nachtflugel, the theme that plays when you fight him, is it's so good. And yeah, man, Kingdom Hearts, it means so much to me. And like, as a kid growing up, Kingdom Hearts was still kind of, it was popular, but at least in my small town, I didn't see anybody talking about it or wearing merch, or, I felt very like it was an underground group. Like, I felt very reclusive in this group, me, my cousins, and my brother. And then there was this like Christmas festival thing happening in my town, and where a bunch of like different vendors could put up shops or whatever. And this guy, he was selling Kingdom Hearts Keyblade replicas, and I think I was like in the 8th or 7th grade or something, and my mind was absolutely blown that people know what Kingdom Hearts are and that they play it. And someone made like a Keyblade replica, and of course I had to get it, and it's of Oathkeeper, probably my favorite Keyblade, simply for the fact that Roxas wields it, and it has a lot of significant value. You get it after you talk to Kairi in Kingdom Hearts 1. I think Oathkeeper is probably my favorite Keyblade in the entire series, so it's fitting I have it in my own room. And yeah, it's forever mantled to my wall. And as I've gotten older and gotten a job, I've been able to go back and collect some of the Kingdom Hearts merchandise. Through having money and the great power of eBay, I've been able to get the Kingdom Hearts 1 original soundtrack, the Japanese version, and the Kingdom Hearts 2 original soundtrack. I know a lot of people say that Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix HD Remix soundtrack, the new arranged soundtrack, is better sounding than the original. But something about the original soundtrack is just bliss to my ears, and I much prefer the original over the remixes. And I never had an original copy of Kingdom Hearts 2 as growing up, but I saw this at a local game shop, trade game shop, and I had to buy it. It was $20. You guys seen this in the first podcast episode. And right there is all my Kingdom Hearts stuff, a bunch of the games, and I'm starting to collect the manga. I have every game in the series. I want to collect like every version of the game. Like, I want to go back and get PSP, Birth by Sleep. Basically, I want to be a mega fan and get everything. And so, yeah, I wanted to explain my origins with Kingdom Hearts and why I love it so much, why it means so much to me. And so basically, my favorite game in the series is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Absolutely bliss and peak game making. Like, whether or not you're a Kingdom Hearts fan and you play Kingdom Hearts still, you'll probably find something to enjoy about it. The gameplay, the drive forms, the boss fights, the music, it's so good. And as much as I love Sora, my number one favorite character is Ventus, and I'm so happy and excited that he's more important now to the story with the whole Union Cross thing that's happening. He actually has like a backstory more than what we know in Birth by Sleep. So I'm very curious to learn more about him and what he goes through post Union Cross. And yeah, Ventus is just a caring, outgoing guy. He'll do anything for his friends, and he goes through a lot of hardship, and you get to see like a sad and depressed side of him, and like the anger in him when he like sacrifices himself to not become the Keyblade in Birth by Sleep. So selfless of him. And obviously it's a lot of root work to what Sora is, and Sora, obviously Ven's heart is in Sora. But yeah, just all the Kingdom Hearts characters are so great, but Ven sticks out to me as my favorite. I know my older cousin who got me into the game, his favorite character is Sora, and most people's favorite character in the series is Sora. Sora's so likable. He's just, that smile. Everywhere I go, I just see that smile. He's so uplifting. He is the good guy, Like, that's just his character arc. He loves his friends so much. He wants to go on this grand journey, and he'll do anything. And then, like, you know, characters like Riku, his inner struggle with his darkness, but he has to deal with it to protect the ones he loves. You know, he has to hold this hatred of the man he hates so much, the darkness in him, to like protect Sora and Kairi. And like, he finally accepts the darkness as a part of him and uses that power like for the greater good. And just, there's so many great written characters in Kingdom Hearts. You know, obviously not everyone is good. And especially, you know, Roxas. Roxas is probably, as much as I love him, I would definitely say Roxas is like the most well-written character in Kingdom Hearts. He's probably the most realistic. Like, man, I just love Kingdom Hearts, and happiest 20th anniversary. Like, I could go on and on and on about this series, but I've been talking for 25 minutes. I don't want to be here forever. But yeah, 20th anniversary event in Japan is happening soon. I have a lot of big hopes. I'm hoping we'll get teases about a Verum Rex game or Kingdom Hearts 4. I guarantee a new game will be shown. It's going to be behind closed doors, but you know, with the power of Twitter and people, they'll spoil it. Hopefully, if someone knows English and goes to Twitter. But I'm pretty sure a trailer will follow after that. And just, yeah, Phase 2, Kingdom Hearts. This series going ahead is actually even more exciting than it ever was, and like the mystery is like back, you know. And I'm just really excited to see where they go with this, with the, you know, whole Yozora stuff in Quadratum. It really seems like seems like Tetsuya Nomura is gonna be going into like more original storylines. And obviously, you know, Kingdom Hearts is basically a Disney property, and there's still gonna be Disney things, but I feel like it's gonna be more heavily original based stories and characters and all that stuff, which I really appreciate it, and I think is really cool. And yeah, if you're watching this and you have never ever played Kingdom Hearts before, I do think it is worth a chance. Obviously, it's not going to be for everybody, and I get that, but I can't stress enough how much this game has really changed my life, and I know so many others, like the Gamers Joint and HMK, have expressed like how much this game has changed their life. It gave them a job on YouTube, like to support them financially. And I know with like Skyward Wing and Sword Out 1, you know, the Key Keepers, basically, it gave them jobs. It creates a community. And you know, if only I would have joined YouTube a lot sooner at a young age, you know, doing YouTube at like 14 or whatever. I wish I could have been a part of that community somehow, and like the reaction trailers to Kingdom Hearts 3 world trailers. But you know, the past is the past, and that's fine. But moving forward, I really want to push more Kingdom Hearts content on anime, because this series means so much to me. And so I would say do be expecting more Kingdom Hearts related content from me. I know Jackson, if you guys didn't know, has played the original Kingdom Hearts. In the HD remixes, me and him played it together again for the first time back in like late 2020. And he thought Anthem was too hard, and he's never beaten it, but he saw the end and he watched the cutscenes from Chain of Memories, same as me. And he's beaten Roxas's prologue in Kingdom Hearts 2, so he's about to get to the good stuff. And me and him are playing it along together. We've just been dropped. It's been dropped for many months, so I plea and I hope that Jackson gets back to it someday, because I think he would really enjoy it. I think it's something everyone has to experience once. You know, I feel if you don't like it, that's fine, but it has definitely changed and inspired the gaming industry. You know, Sora is in Smash. He was the #1 requested character of all time in the Smash ballot. Was Sora, and you know, that's for good reason. Sora is such an iconic gaming character, and the Keyblade itself is so iconic. And so just my final message would be thank you, Kingdom Hearts, for shaping me into the man I am today and literally changing my life. I don't know where I'd be without you, but I'm glad you were here for everything. Happy 20th anniversary, Kingdom Hearts.